snow boots. It's the one thing I have not purchased myself since moving here.
Since moving here from Jacksonville.
Yes.
Or where were you?
Alabama.
Alabama.
Because I was in college and then I transferred, but yes, the South regardless.
Do you have worn boots?
No.
You don't even have like Uggs or anything like that? No. Oh, it's cold out there.
I know. I just walk my dog in my Hogas and hope for the best.
What are Hogas?
Like the running shoes.
Oh. Yeah. Oh, yeah. The big soles?
I kind of hate them. Like, they're very culty, but they're not my thing. I hate them so much. I'm going to go back to my Asics old man shoes.
So this is frequent. We always have technical.
Yeah, I don't.
Always.
Nothing's ever perfect.
Stand by. Microphone.
Technology's supposed to make your life easier, but
I
it also
even
makes
set
it
everything
harder.
up earlier and it was fine. Camera. Audio. That's right. All right. Can you guys just talk in your mic again?
Check two. Hello.
Check 1, 2, check.
Why are these not connecting? I don't understand. Did something happen with the power outage?
Is that what we had today?
Is it the power or just the internet?
Internet, I mean. We didn't have it for 3.5 hours. Shit.
Well, you've got time. It's just now 6:05.
I know. I'm just.
How can I help you?
Is set up correctly. So that's my problem. Let me do this again. Stand by. I'm gonna call Jim. Yeah, so I can hear everything in here. Hey Jim, it's Kelly.
Pat says he can hear us.
He can?
Yeah.
Oh.
So if you're out there waiting for us, you can hear us, but you can't see us. We're, as usual, no fault of anyone's, just fumbling around. It's a fault of technology.
I can't hear them in this, like, but Pat says he can hear them on the actual off-air show.
It's the fault of technology, Kendra.
But like in
technology
the
does not
studio,
make our life
like,
better.
Okay, but think about how hard it was when you didn't have Google or Apple Maps. That's what I think about.
It was hard for everybody. You went to the encyclopedia on the shelf. Do you
yeah,
even know
I'm
what
not
that
hearing.
is?
Yes.
Do you even know what encyclopedia
I'm not
is?
hearing
Yes.
them through
You
the
do.
mics,
I used
but
to have one
guess
on my toilet in college.
people watching that?
Exactly. Okay. Well,
Do you use ChatGPT yet?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to avoid.
No, I don't use
I can't figure out
ChatGPT.
what's going on with the other mics though.
No.
Like they
Use
both look
Google.
fine.
Isn't it the same thing?
No, not really, because let's say I need to submit something for work and I
The
want
first two.
it to be checked for spelling or grammar or something like that. You just copy and paste it into
There's
ChatGPT. It'll feed it back to you
labeled.
completely perfect.
I have that spell check.
There's-
I can do the spell check.
Yeah.
But does it write it for you a little bit?
Yep, it writes the whole thing for you.
What do you
Well,
mean?
that's not.
You can even just be like, hey, I need X amount of sentences with this amount of info. Write it for me, and it will.
It's horrible. Horrible.
Like under settings? Oh no, on the board.
Do you remember when you used to have to map quest and print out
Oh, it
the
says 1
directions
and
of where
2.
you wanted to go?
What's wrong with that?
Nothing, but it was. My mom used to get so frustrated
How do I
when she
do
was
that?
driving me to my girlfriend's houses when I was a kid.
So I'm hearing from people,
Yeah.
my mom, that our mics are open.
On the events?
So
Yeah, I've already
I
done
guess
it.
our mics are open.
No, it's
Okay.
from
Are
the
they
video
open,
camera.
or are they just kind of like
Say
in
that
the
again,
background
Jim?
open?
Let me ask my mom.
Oh, we're good.
And if they weren't, they are after that.
Okay.
Okay, you should be good.
We up?
Yes.
We're
Thank
up.
you, Beetle.
How about the video?
I'm gonna switch it now.
If you're a fan or you're a viewer, listener of this show, you know this is often the case. And again, not Kelly's fault.
No,
Okay.
but it's through the camera and not the microphone.
Okay, so I've been told we're up, kind of, sort of. Happens all the time. And you know why? Because technology blows. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. It doesn't make our lives easier.
And I've also switched the layer on here and it's not
So we're getting reports that the mics are open, that we can be heard, but then I'm hearing we're just background noise.
Video's up.
Is it? See,
And apparently video's up.
maybe it's me. It's not working on my phone.
You're perfect, Kelly.
So apparently we're.
Sorry.
Should we just go?
Yeah, just go for it.
Can you get? Well, okay.
Hold on. I don't want you to waste your breath. Hold on. I really want to know because I know you want to talk about your dad.
I really want to go home. Like, is the first thing I wanted. Right. You're talking. Who am I talking to here?
Sorry. I have to find it again.
Kelly just swore something along the. I thought it was balls. Something like that.
Okay, Jim says it sounds good. Go for it.
Okay.
All right.
So do we have comments or not? It doesn't matter. I'm going to do some talking here first. Welcome to the Off-Air Show. I think we're up. I don't know. If not, we're not doing this again. Off-Air Show is presented to you by the original light beer, Miller Lite. Tastes great and only 96 calories. When it's time for the Off-Air Show, it's Miller time. Please enjoy responsibly. Good synergy there. I've been told since the loss of my father to look for signs. Maybe the Miller Lite is one of them. It's like a important beverage if you're from Milwaukee, Wisconsin,
Yes,
which
it
we
is.
all are. So Kendra Middleton joining us this week. I apologize. I'm going to do some talking on my father here.
That is perfect for me.
And you're welcome to just interrupt, prompt me, ask some questions.
Let's do it.
We'll do some other stuff a little later, but I do just want to give him more of a tribute than I gave him the other day when we came on the air. He passed over the long weekend of Parkinson's disease, 83 years old. He and my mom, who's the hero of this story, my mom, Georgia Felger. I was just trying to think of this. I think they were married 57 years. I
Can't even count that high.
I'm 55. I know I was born in wedlock, not out of wedlock. So I don't know. I can't remember. I should know this, but I think I'm going to say like they were married 56, 57 years.
Are you the oldest?
I am the oldest. I have a brother who's only 14 months younger than me.
Almost Irish twins.
Almost Irish twins. I guess technically it's got to be 12 months.
Yeah, I think within like 12, yeah.
But we're, for all intents and purposes, Irish twins, which is good because my mother, Georgia Felger, is Irish. Georgia McCluskey. But anyway, just to give you a snapshot of who we call him Rocky. He was known as Rocky because when he was born in the hospital, I believe the heavyweight champion of the world at the time was Rocky Graziano. And my father, I guess, put up such a fight in the hospital through labor and whatnot that they called him Rocky because he was such a fighter. Okay, so I think something along those lines. He got the name in the hospital, and it was named, and he got the nickname from Rocky Graziano. Anyway, but as it relates to us and like the reason I'm such a sports fan is because of him and Georgia, and how sporty we were as a family in Milwaukee. I'll just start with this. Anything that we could have season tickets to, he got them. Milwaukee Bucks, Green Bay Packers. The Packers used to play half their home schedule in Milwaukee at the Milwaukee County Stadium. We had season tickets for that. We had season tickets to the minor league hockey team. We used to have, if not the full season package for the Milwaukee Brewers, season ticket packages for the Milwaukee. So it was just anything we could get our hands on, we went to. He was oddly and blessedly a big hockey fan. And for no reason that he should be. He never played. I don't think he ever put on a pair of skates. He was a big 6'4" guy who wasn't all that athletic, but he loved hockey. Loved it. I think the fights had a lot to do with it. We used to be big fight fans. Like I remember going to all the heavyweight championships. This is before your day, Kendra. They used to have them in like auditoriums, closed circuit. Like it's how you used to go watch Muhammad Ali or Sugar Ray Leonard or someone in the 70s fight a big championship fight. It'd be close. So we went to all those things. So he loved the fight. So I think that's why he liked hockey, so much. Not only did we just go to the minor league games in Milwaukee, we would do weekend trips to Chicago to see the Blackhawks. He'd try and time it out with things that might be special. Like I remember once we went for a couple of games in Minnesota, or at least one against the Montreal Canadiens. And he found out where the Canadians were staying, their team hotel, and he booked us there. So when we went down to the indoor pool or like the little game room next to I remember playing pinball with Larry Robinson, in the late 70s in Minneapolis because Rocky, wanted us to go see hockey, and he wanted us to sort of rub elbows with legends. And it's ironic because I hate the Canadians. But maybe at that point I didn't hate them enough or whatever. Like, we just used to do stuff like that all the time. And so, like, that's the sports fan thing.
Did you ever have like a favorite game you guys went to together?
The 1982 American League Championship Series, Brewers Angels, of course. Remember it well. They swept the Angels for 3 games to go to the World Series. Then we went to all the World Series games. And I remember losing Game 6 at home, I think. I think it was Game 6 to Joaquin Underhar. I can't remember his name. In Game 6 when they had a chance to clinch it. I remember it well, being crestfallen. But all of that. But the nature of how we watch sports too. It's like, where do I get my thing from? And I think it was him. He was a very negative, critical sports viewer sitting watching TV. And I think Boston might be, in danger of having a lot of this. In the 70s in Wisconsin, if you were a Packer fan in the 70s, Lombardi had just left, that dynasty was over, and everyone was still sort of like, but we're the Packers, why do we suck? And anything they did wrong, my father or anyone would say, Lombardi would have kicked there. Lombardi would never let that happen. Lombardi throws on 3rd and 1. He doesn't just, Lombardi, that would never exist under Lombardi. So in the 70s, growing up with him watching Packer games, that's all I got. That's not what Lombardi did, and just bitching at the TV because the Packers sucked. And like, maybe that's just where it all started. So people think I'm just sort of negative because Boston's not my team. I'm the same way with my teams than it was from an early age. Wow. And I have him to thank for it, or blame for it.
You made a career out of it.
As the case may be. Yes, I guess I did. So, and that's just sort of the sports thing, and it is to this day. I mean, my father who just passed, but my mother, they watch sports all day long. They watch Felger and Maz all day long.
I heard you say that.
If they don't catch it live, it's recorded 4 hours every day on replay if they miss it live.
I'd like to see any of your listeners compete with that, because I'm sure none of them can.
Who could compete with that? So he was a character, Kendra. He was a character. He was probably a troubled youth. He got thrown out of a lot of high schools. Parents put him in military school at the time, reform school, but it was military school, and he got tossed out of that. He was thrown out of 5 or 6 colleges, University of Miami down in Florida.
As one does.
Yeah. Was it Washington University in St. Louis? What's the one in St. Louis? Is it Washington?
I think it is Washington.
Washington and St. Louis. 3, a handful of others. It was bad. And then he met my mom, Georgia, and Vietnam came along.
Did they meet in St. Louis?
They met in Milwaukee.
Okay.
He was going to Marquette at the time. So Marquette was maybe a 6th or 7th college. And he met my mom, and Vietnam came along, and there were college deferments. So it was stay in college or get your ass shot off. And my mom, who was not a troubled youngster, driven young student at Marquette, and they started dating, and from there he stayed in college, and they both ended up graduating Marquette undergrad and Marquette Law.
Wow.
So they're what the Boston college assholes would say, double eagles, except they don't talk that way in Milwaukee. They just went to Marquette undergrad and Marquette Law, and they weren't triple eagles or double eagles or any fucking thing like that. They just went to Marquette Law. My father was a city prosecutor. So he was a city attorney prosecuting mostly misdemeanors. My mom was
quite the turn from being kicked out of all of these
correct,
colleges.
right, where he then started, right. He was law enforcement, if you will. Yes.
Good cop, bad cop, but kind of reversed.
That's right. And my mom was a divorce lawyer, a family lawyer. But so my father, when he was a city prosecutor, even he, so again, like, he was a character. He used to love sports tie-in. He used to love it. Like, the only exciting cases he would get. So when you prosecute misdemeanors, it's bar fights, DUI, loitering. Like, again, they're not exactly sexy kind of cases. The only few kind of cases that he enjoyed, these wrestling tours, the AWA. Are you wrestling?
I'm getting into wrestling because of Jay Stu.
Okay. So the wrestling tours used to come through Milwaukee, like they came through any city. The AWA, the old AWA, it was like, I feel like it was a Midwestern circuit. I don't know. These wrestlers would come through Milwaukee and they'd go out after the show or the night before the show and go out and invariably get in bar fights because assholes would, oh, there's the Crusher. I'm going to mess him up. And, like they'd have to fend off assholes in bars and they get in fights and they get arrested and they'd have to stand before my father, who would then have to decide whether to prosecute him or not. He never prosecuted him. He always let him go. And he would, I think, call the TV stations and say, hey, I got Mad Dog Vachon here. I got the Crusher. I got the Flying. I got the Gagne brothers. What do they call them? The Flying. I can't remember.
You were destined for this career.
So he would call the TV station. I got Blackjack. I can barely remember their names, but these wrestlers, these at the time sort of well-known wrestlers. He's in my office. He got in a bar fight last night, and sure enough, next thing you know, the TV cameras would show up. And Rocky would say, I'm going to give you one final warning, Blackjack. We're not going to stand for this in the city, but you're free to go now. And, like, he'd be the hero. And the next thing you know, me and my brother would be backstage at the wrestling show at the arena because Blackjack would hook my father up with, locker room passes and whatnot and tickets to the wrestling show. And so, yeah, that was him. So, just, again, life story quickly. So, he the job that he had at the end of the day, not that great. My mom, family law, divorce law, kind of not that great. Kind of could be depressing work. Milwaukee, not the most uplifting city that you'll ever live in. So a couple of tough jobs, but good jobs. I'm not crying poor or anything, but they were, could be depressing jobs in a depressing town. My old man made a little bit of money with some apartment buildings that he invested in. And so what happened in the mid-'80s, I'm doing great, by the way. I'm fucking killing it. I played goalie in high school. I was a hockey player, had friends. We had a nice little school. I was just fine. I was 15 years old. I was a freshman. I was dating a senior girl.
Wow. You could do that back then.
I guess. So I was the shit. I was fine. I was good. I was going to play.
If you got in trouble, you knew a guy.
I was eventually right. I was eventually going to play. I was going to be on the varsity hockey team. We had a good hockey team by Wisconsin standards.
Your girlfriend would be in college by then.
By the time I got to, that would have just been a stepping stone. It was for total cred. I was fine. But my parents got sick of Milwaukee. So listen, Tony mentioned this quickly the other day. For some reason in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, there was a Pizza by the Slice restaurant that was killing it. And I don't know why. Because for some reason, like in Boston or New York, any neighborhood street corner you walk in, there's the Saugus House of Pizza. There's a pizza restaurant that you walk in and buy a slice of pizza. This, for some goddamn reason, was a foreign concept in Milwaukee. We didn't have that. So when there was a chain restaurant that was started called Rocky Rococo's,
God, I've been there.
Rocky Rococo's? Yes. Does it still exist?
Yeah. I went there as a kid, though. It's been a long time. But my mom's from Wisconsin. And
where's she from?
She's from, right outside of Madison.
Okay.
My mom's UW grad, so we're all my cousins.
Okay.
But I'm pretty sure my mom still has, a Rocky Rococo t-shirt or sweatshirt or something like that in her closet.
Rocky Rococo.
That just triggered something so old in my brain. My mom talks about that place.
Okay. It was at the malls, and there was a handful.
Chain. Yeah,
it was a chain. And it wasn't anything fucking special. It was like a sort of a stereotypical Italian guy, cartoon character on the sign outside, and they sold I think it was deep dish pizza, maybe, I can't remember, but it killed it in Milwaukee. Okay, so between him and Georgia getting sick of their jobs, making a little bit of money, investing in some apartment buildings and some condos, they got this bright idea. I know, let's move to Naples, Florida, and open up a knockoff of Rocky Rococo in Naples, Florida.
Naples also rocks, though.
Not then, it didn't. Not in 1985.
Now
it
it's just
didn't.
Rolls Royces and rich people.
In 1985, it was tumbleweeds and walkers and oxygen tanks and no.
I mean, that's what it is now. They just have
at least
drivers.
Naples now has a little something going on. Back then, when we moved, it was nothing. So he stole an executive from Rocky Rococo. Okay, got the recipe and the business plan, and
he got the recipe too.
Close to it. Yeah. I think so.
Wow.
I mean, it's statute of limitations. I think we can get in trouble for it.
Loose lips, sink ships.
Stole an executive from Rocky Rococo, brought him down to Florida, opened up 2 pizza restaurants in Naples and Fort Myers, except we called it Chompers. Pizza by the Slice in Paradise. The logo was a pelican on a windsurfer.
Hell yeah.
Okay. Somewhere in our storage, we have boxes and stacks of fucking cups and T-shirts and whatnot because the thing went under in 14 months, right? It, like most restaurants, it didn't work. Okay. So by this time, we had moved to the East Coast of Florida. My brother and I were in high school in the East Coast because they weren't moving back to Milwaukee. Fuck that. They're staying in Florida. And so we started going to school on the East Coast of Florida. They moved over there. Okay, the pizza thing didn't work out. Money's running out. What am I going to do? You know what he did, Kendra? He started psychic hotlines. He started, this is back in the days. This is probably well before your day. Kelly might be old enough to know.
That is so
Rocky,
funny.
Rocky started the LaToya Jackson psychic hotline. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. That's what he did. He and his buddies on the golf course, like, what are we going to do? He's, fuck it if he's going to go back to Milwaukee and, be a DA or a city attorney again. So, like, what do we do? This is now in the late 80s, early 90s, somewhere in there, late 80s. And back then, again, this is before your day, but a big thing was 1-900 psychic numbers.
Oh, I have old porn mags. I know all about.
Okay, well
I do. I have 1980s porn magazines. I know all about the adverts.
I bet you could find some of his
They're
ads.
my coffee table books. I'll
Really?
look tonight. Yeah, they were my grandfather's, and now they're my coffee table books.
He had the LaToya Jackson psychic hotline. He had the Bridget Nielsen Witches of Salem network. He had a couple of these for Cocta things. And this was back in the day when how they would do it. Dionne Warwick was the big one. And they would do 30-minute infomercials and put them on TV in the middle of the night.
Oh, yeah.
900 and okay. So that's what he started, and that's what he did, and he did okay with it. Well, it's not like through the roof like we were super wealthy, but he, made enough money to put myself and my brother through college, my brother through law school, build a nice life for himself, build a nice home in Florida, and provide a nice life for his family through that thing.
You have got to bring back the Chompers merchandise and then donate all the proceeds to some sort of charity benefiting what he went through. I'm so serious.
Yeah.
I would buy one of those T-shirts. A pelican on a windsurfer. I don't care what it is. I'm in.
Hey, how does that not work? And how it doesn't work is that Pizza by the Slice is not all that fucking special.
No.
It just Milwaukee was so backward or something that people went nuts for it, but Rocky Rococo, I don't know if it really existed anywhere else. Or
No, I haven't seen it anywhere else, but I'm pretty sure it still does exist, but it definitely did when I was a kid. I'm pretty sure it still does, though. In my favorite memories of my mom as an adult now are the few times she has gotten drunk around me or we shared a joint or something like that, because my mom is not a rowdy person at all. So my mom had like 3 beers at my graduation party in college, and we found her taking a nap in her bedroom in our suite. And we were just like, and those are one of my favorite stories of my mom. But since your dad was such a character, is there some like silly story where you saw him do something out of character one time that you'll remember forever? Because for me, because my mom is not crazy, those are some of my favorite memories of her.
I can't remember him being out of character. I can't he was a risk taker. He had a great sense of humor. He's a Jewish guy. So a close approximation is Larry David. I just remember constant little disputes over nothing, trying to park where he can't park. And the security guard saying, "Sir, you can't park there." And the next thing you know, I'm sitting there as a kid in the car with these 2 guys yelling at each other over a fucking parking spot. Or like a famous one in our family is we went to the movies and there was a McDonald's down the hall in the mall, and we tried to bring McDonald's into the movie theater, and the lady at the front of the movie theater says, "Sir, you can't bring in food from the outside. You have to buy it here." Well, why not? Why can't we do it? Back and forth.
Just puts it under his shirt and walks in.
And then it's like we had a whole thing because like, why do we so it's like if you watch Curb Your Enthusiasm, there's a lot, tremendous sense of humor, and there was always these crazy little disputes over nothing. And was he ever out of character? I mean, that's a good question. I don't know. He was always him. I think Kendra, he was always him.
Did he have a favorite dinner?
Did he have a favorite?
Because that's something
dinner?
I'll always remember about my mom too. She cannot cook for shit, but I remember her making kid cuisine and fish sticks. So I will because she burned water as a kid, but those were the 2 things she could do.
Well,
so
So we're simple Wisconsin people. We're simple Milwaukee people. So
Meat and
like,
potatoes.
like a chicken Caesar salad was exotic. Towards the end, he wasn't afraid. He would order off the kids menu, butter nunu. Because we're not eating sushi in Milwaukee. We're not doing anything exotic. Where you get meat and potatoes.
You get walleye sushi.
No, that's it. That's it. So anyway, that was his business, and again, nothing through the roof, but provided a nice life for him and us growing up. And my brother runs the company to the day.
Did he believe in the psychic stuff, or was it just a thing?
They will tell you that there are people who definitely have a gift. They definitely believe in it because they saw it. Quick story, when they first started it, they hired Sherry Belafonte to be their psychic presenter. She was the one that was going to do the infomercial. They signed her. They put her under contract, and it was going to be Sherry Belafonte. And they were interviewing psychics, and they said to the psychic, would you like to be part of our network? We have Sherry Belafonte filming the infomercial coming up in 2 weeks, and that's what it is. And the psychic said, yeah, I'm in. I'll sign. I'll work for you guys, but it's not going to be Sherry Belafonte. It's just not. And my dad's like, it is. Here's the contract. She just signed it. We're shooting in 2 weeks, and it's going to be Sherry Belafonte. And the psychic said, no, it's going to be another entertainer, another African-American woman entertainer, but it's not here. It's not going to be Sherry Belafonte. My dad's like, all right, either way, you in? Yeah, she's like, I'm in. 2 days later, Sherry Belafonte's agent called and said she's out. She's not going to go forward with it, and they ended up with LaToya Jackson. So, like, they've got stories like that they definitely, there are some people who have a gift, and some people don't, and so hopefully they're not hiring them, and they can weed that out, but they believe in the gift. Yeah. What can I tell you? So they do. The company still exists. It's not in the same form. We don't do the LaToya Jackson Psychic Hotline is long gone. Infomercials are long gone. 900 numbers are long gone. So there's some internet stuff. There's some telecommunication stuff. I don't think it's just that anymore. So it's sort of evolved. It's not a big company. They employ a half dozen people or so. But
I got a call.
Okay, you definitely do. My brother's stingy with the numbers, though. For some reason, it's hard.
I need a reading.
It's hard to get a reading on the cuff.
Well, I know a guy.
From old Danny Felger. You would think you would. You would think you would. Okay, I'll just give you one last thing, and then I'll stop talking about the end. And if you take anything away from this, and something I've learned, and I wish I knew it to begin with, and I think people should learn, is being prepared for the end and having that all lined up, because we didn't as a family, and it was a real struggle. He big guy, like I told you, 6'4". He broke his hip, I'm going to say 7 years ago. I can't remember exactly when it was, but it was some time ago. And I'd say from that point forward, it has just been this long, slow grind until we got to the very end. And then it was like, believe it or not, like sudden, given how long it took. But that 7 years was just, he was immobile for a lot of it. And my mother, again, the hero of the story, who fulfilled her vows of in sickness and in health better than anyone I could possibly imagine, at his side the entire time, and really propping him up, like quite literally, for 7 years, in and out of chairs, in and out of the bed, in and out of the bathroom, and it got slowly worse over time. And then he contracted Parkinson's, as tends to happen for some reason, shortly after he broke his hip, or whatever, sometime after he broke his hip. And then the Parkinson's set in, and then he needs more care and more care and more care. And then we get to the end where she can't move him anymore. And now he needs, is it assisted living? Is it skilled nursing? How do you pay for that?
And that
it
shit
is
sucks.
insanely expensive. Where do you go? They're in Florida. You would think that there'd be places like this on every street corner. It's not. It's kind of harder to find where to go and how to get there and how to pay for it than I ever thought. And Medicare covers certain things, but not Medicaid. How do you get on Medicaid? And how do you get a Medicaid bed versus Medicare that covers this, but not that? Well, this place does this, but not that. He might need this, but he's here now. And so it has been for the last couple of years. They moved out of their house last year. And so really, and they should have moved, I think, a year before that. Okay. So it should have been the last 2 years. They tried to get him in home care. necessarily want it, or again, it's expensive. That whole thing of having that lined up and paid for and accounted for. So when you get there, you're not just like, what do we do? Where do we go? What do we, there's been a fair amount of that with us. And that was really hard on my mom more than anyone. And Dan, my brother, lives in Northern California. I live here. So we've spent a lot of time there back and forth the last couple of years, with that. And, now trying to keep the house and all of this. So it's like, it's hard to do because who can afford to take money out of your pocket now for something that you don't even think is going to happen? But if you do, you'll thank yourself if you do. Because it's like, that was a mother bleeper, that whole process.
Yeah.
And
you're emotionally navigating it at the same time. So it's.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, and that was the last thing that surprised me was the emotional punch of the actual passing. Because it had been he was in really bad shape between the Parkinson's and the immobility for the last year and a half, 2 years. Not very communicative, couldn't move at all. And so, you steel yourself, the end is coming and this is where it's going and it's not getting better. And so you do feel you're emotionally steeled. And then the day we put him in hospice and the day, you signed the paperwork, it's like, that one I wasn't ready for, and there's nothing you can do about that. No preparing yourself for that one. But that whole arc there, the last couple of years, prepare for it if you can. If it's, I know, because that's not easy, but if you can, you'll thank yourself, or your parents will thank you, or whatever the case may be. That's like the one lesson there. So I'm done. That's it. Are your parents still around?
It's just me and my mom, but yeah, she's around. She's great. She also had both of her hips replaced 2 years ago, but she's still up kicking, doing her water aerobics, all the things.
So. I don't know why. And I'll say, in honesty and fairness, my father did not rehab very hard. He did not. When he broke his hip, he wasn't doing water aerobics, and it probably hurt him. So if you're older and you suffer that kind of injury, you gotta dig in and work.
Yeah.
For some reason, Parkinson's seems to follow broken hips. I think.
Really? Is that a thing?
I don't know why. I think.
I didn't know that.
Maybe it's you're susceptible if you don't exercise, if you don't rehab properly.
I saw a crazy stat recently, and this could be completely wrong. Obviously everything you read on the internet is true, but apparently in women, if you exercise at least 3 days a week, you're 90% less to suffer from Alzheimer's later in life, which is a crazy stat, and I feel like that is extremely hard to believe, but some doctor online was doing a presentation about it. So if that's true, that's an insane statistic.
So he had, he lasted till 83, and he was not in great shape. He wasn't like obese, but he wasn't thin. And he exercised, but not very hard. Tried to eat well, but not great.
It's hard in Wisconsin and South Florida. I mean, South Florida has a lot of great restaurants, and the food in Wisconsin or the Midwest in general, it's all white, it's all cream, it's all fried. That's just how it is.
But to make it to 83 without really doing much to. I mean, I don't know. He did drink at the end. Stopped smoking cigars well before. I don't know. I'd say a long life. To me, when I just look at this, what you want to be is skinny. I just say that because I look at guys like Keith Richards or some of these rock stars who've abused their bodies.
You and Maz have talked about this.
Well, like look at Keith Richards. Keith Richards, inveterate heroin addict for decades. Looks like death warmed over. Never took care of himself, but is still out there cranking it. I don't know how old, 80s. He's got, I think he's in his 70s or 80s. He's skinny.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I think you.
Same thing with your pets, though.
Pets, 100%.
Number one thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Be skinny.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm done. All right. Help me with goal line, puck line.
Okay, so
money line.
The difference between the spread in hockey is basically if it's 1.5, you want to either win by 2 goals or. So, all right. So, for example, money line is just straight up. You're betting on that team to win.
I understand.
It's the same in the spread of like a football game.
They only have to win by 1. I get it.
Same in hockey.
So that's why USA would be minus 108 on the money line.
Yep.
Okay.
Although USA is favored for tomorrow.
So
I took Canada last week.
Well, so that's why they would be minus then. Okay,
Canada,
so the
yes.
favorite. So U.S. is minus 108 on the
Yes,
money line.
Yes.
On the puck line, they're minus 1.5, but that's minus like 220 because those are greater odds because now they have to win by 2 versus 1.
You got
Simple
it.
as that. I got it. But you're still dubious.
No, it's just I love listening to you guys. I think that you guys should do a hockey bet of the week moving forward. Somebody's got to sponsor this.
Well, what was I just gonna say? I can't remember now. I like Canada
I took Canada plus 145 to win it all last week.
as an underdog. Canada as an underdog, they're better.
And this was before USA was even injured. I'm sure the prices are worse now. I'm not sure. I haven't checked today, but it makes they're Canada.
They're better.
Yeah. Except for the goaltending. The goaltending is the only thing.
People overrate goaltending. People overrate goaltending. The better goalie doesn't always win. It's not just like better goalie wins, that's it. It doesn't work that way. Just like I think they overrate the quarterback a little bit. The better quarterback doesn't always win. He didn't just in this game. Last time Binnington was here for a big game, the better goalie didn't win. It just doesn't work that way. If the U.S. does win, I think it'll be a big reason why. But it's like no guarantee. Like
Are you going to the game? People
overrate that. No, I'm going to have to go back down to Florida tomorrow night. So I'll watch it on the plane. Hopefully the fucking plane, the internet works.
Hopefully the plane
No,
works.
the plane's going. Listen, I'm more worried about the TV. I'm more worried about the
Are
broadcast.
you Delta, JetBlue?
JetBlue.
JetBlue. Me too. I'm a JetBlue girl. I have a JetBlue
yeah.
card.
I know it well.
Hey.
I know it well.
There we go.
What else, Kendra? What else would you be talking about today if you were on the air?
I think the Four Nations thing is huge. The planes are crazy. I'll give you a piece of pop.
Do you have a conspiracy theory on the planes?
I mean, no, it's not a conspiracy theory. Something's going on.
I don't think so. I think what's going on is it's been so clean for so long that now there's a couple little things and people are like, oh, what's up? It's just this is the way it used to be. There were
Did
always
planes crash like this?
Yes, all the time. There used to be mishaps and real crashes and fatalities, and it used to be a real thing. It's like we'd gone a decade without anything happening.
Okay, let me ask you this. This most recent Delta flight that flipped upside down, there's obviously that video that came out, and one of the people clearing off the plane was yelling at someone for having their phone out and taking a video. If you were evacuating a plane that was upside down on fire, would you have your phone in your hand recording while you were evacuating or no?
Fuck no.
See, I would.
Why?
Because if you're going to try and screw me over, I'm going to take any piece of evidence that I can
Screw you over how?
legally, with miles, with anything like that. Like, there's got to be some sort of something for somebody, because you know that Delta's got incredible lawyers that are going to try and give you the least amount of whatever for your suffering. Nah, I'm recording that for sure.
Okay, so the very first part, who's recording it now?
Just the guy who's evacuating the plane. He's got his phone in his hand and he's leaving the plane. And
oh, I see, the passenger.
yeah, the passenger.
I'm sorry, I missed the very
And
first
the
part,
woman's
Kendra.
telling him
I thought you meant a guy who may have run up to the plane
no,
and helped evacuate
the
people.
guy who's getting off.
You're
of the
talking about the
plane.
passengers.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's a little different.
And the girl is telling him to put his phone away. Like, hell no, I know that Delta's going to try and screw me over.
Oh,
I'm
come on.
recording every piece
That
of
is-
this that I can for this lawsuit.
That is too.
I'm flying for free for life.
Come on, have a little more faith.
Nah.
How did it fucking flip over?
I think the ice. There was, like, if you looked at the video on the runway, there was a ton of ice. I just don't know if it was cleared. It seems like every airport right now is understaffed. I don't know. There's all this crap. I'd probably honestly talk about the crap going on with the national parks. That would probably be if I was working
What's going on with the national parks?
So with all of these budget cuts, once again, not to get political, all of the people who clean the bathrooms in the national parks, the people who do the animal control, the people who check people in, all of this stuff, they're so understaffed that the trash is everywhere. They can't get people in and out of the national parks. The bathrooms aren't clean. The people who clean the trails, all of that kind of stuff, everything is just overrun.
Oh, that's too bad.
Isn't that horrible?
Yes.
So that's probably the first thing that I would talk about today is how we are,
That's such a. Is that a real big over?
it's huge.
No. The way it was that expensive?
What do you mean, like
To
staffing?
keep the bathroom clean at the national park and clean the trail
I
and
think that
employ
it's
those
just,
people?
No, I don't think so.
That doesn't feel like a massive government agency with massive amounts
But
of.
that's what's getting cut. And like the amount of tourism that national parks and money and stuff like that it brings us, I feel like we're about to get really hit this summer. I don't know this to be true, but the rumor is it's for to start drilling for oil and stuff like that. Once again, not to get political. I don't really care where you stand.
You're gonna hear it because no one can fucking handle any sort of
national parks are sacred. And
any
we should
sort of
protect
comment
them.
about anything. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Our national parks are sacred. We should protect them. They bring so much tourism. They're beautiful. You don't get anything like that, and once they're gone, and we're not getting that shit back.
Okay, you're gonna hear.
That's fine.
If we had commented,
at me.
Liberal.
You know where to find me on the internet.
Liberal. Okay. When do I see you next? Hear you next with Fred and Hardy, or
I'm gonna go on with Joe after this.
Oh yeah.
Talk some stuff. I'm gonna be on Friday morning with Toucher and Hardy. I'm going to the Sports Illustrated Four Nations party tomorrow night. So if you're there, say hello.
Cool.
I will probably be super tired on Friday morning, and then
wait, Sports Illustrated Four Nations party.
Yeah, they're having an after party.
Oh.
A big night live. Yeah.
Did Bert hook you up, or you just got that kind of pull?
Sports Illustrated reach out to me.
Oh,
because social media thing. There you go.
Because you're like a fancy influencer. They want all the influencers.
I'm a content creator.
Okay. Anyway, thanks for sitting in for this. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for sharing your story.
Okay, and Kelly. Thank you again for everything.
Kelly.
Thank you, everybody out there, for listening. Love you, Georgia, and all of that. We'll see you tomorrow at 2 for the Felger and Maz Show.